Hi guys, this is going to be a probably very long video, but it sort of needs to be this length because I cover a lot of information. But as you can see by the title, it's regarding my Lyme disease, and I'm just sort of going to give frequently asked questions, background information, and all that kind of stuff. So let's get right into that. First of all, I don't really like to talk about it because a lot of people think that I'm just making it up for the attention, or they give me sympathy, which I'm not looking for. I could be a lot worse, and even though my symptoms sound really terrible, I could actually be crippled and not being able to talk and all of these other really horrible things. If you want to know more about the really, really terrible side of Lyme disease, you can watch a documentary called Under Our Skin. It's on Hulu, and it's also on Netflix for instant streaming. I've been experiencing symptoms for years, but things really picked up and got worse a year and a half before I was diagnosed. I went to, sorry, that's my computer. I went to different doctors, like 2 different family doctors. I went to the ER. I went to specialists like neurologists, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me and why I was experiencing my symptoms. My first family doctor just brushed it off as depression and said that I was making it all up. I missed a lot of school my freshman year, and rumors were circulating throughout my school. I go to a really small school, well, I did previously, and so everybody sort of knows everybody, and everyone was saying that I was faking it and doing it for the attention, that I wasn't really sick, and that I just wanted people to pay attention to me, which I was fine with. Like, I've been bullied since the 3rd grade, and it got to a point where I just said, fuck it, I don't really care what other people think about me. When the faculty of the school sort of started not believing in me, that's when I got out of there, because I had my guidance counselor look at me in the face and say, and I quote, "I don't think I necessarily believe you." So I got homebound schooling for the last half year of my freshman year. So I went from having A's and B's and being a gifted student to almost failing because the program was ridiculous, and I had really bad neurological symptoms, which I will get into later. For the frequently asked questions part, I'm going to get into that. There are 7 questions that I get a lot, and people are really curious about when they find out I have Lyme disease, so we'll start with that. Forgive me if I'm looking down a lot because I have a paper with everything written down so I don't forget anything. Number 1, what is your diagnosis exactly? I have chronic Lyme disease, neurological Lyme disease, and 2 different co-infections. One is Babesia, and that is in my lungs, and the other is Bartonella, and that is this rash that is on my stomach. You can see it really well right in here, and that extends from here back. They are fading a lot from being in treatment. I also have them on my breasts and on my upper thigh region as well. Number 2, what exactly is Lyme disease and how did you get it? Lyme disease is caused by being bit by a tick that is infected. The actual disease is a spirochete, so it's in a spiral shape, and they drill into different areas of your body and into different cells, and it's really widespread, and there are about 200 different symptoms one can experience. It's commonly misdiagnosed as MS, chronic fatigue syndrome, lupus, among other things. And the reason why it's so hard to diagnose is because the CDC's criteria for being positively diagnosed with Lyme disease is absolutely ridiculous. It's a really terrible test, and the standards really need to be improved. And I think for the CDC, in order to be positive, you have to have 5 bands positive. But in all actuality, if you have 1 band positive, then you are positive for Lyme disease. Number 3, how long have you had it / when were you diagnosed? Doctors don't really know how long I've had it because I didn't experience the classic bullseye rash that most people get when they are bit by a tick. Only 60% of people experience that. So a lot of the time it's hard to catch if you were indeed bitten by a tick, like in my case. I've had symptoms since the 2nd grade, and in 3rd grade I got my Bartonella rash, and that occurs when the Lyme disease is more advanced. So I've had it for about 10 years, but nobody's really 100% positive on that. I wasn't diagnosed until September of 2010, though. And number 4, what are your symptoms? From 2008 through mid-2009, I had fatigue. I would just have to get at least 9 hours. Before that, I could go 5 hours of sleep and be fine, but I just seemed to be a lot more tired than normal. I also had occasional headaches that would occur and occasional body aches that were pretty gnarly at times. In 2009, I tested negative, and that is what they call a false negative, and it's really, really common. In late 2009 and 2010 is when my symptoms really picked up and they were at its peak. I had extreme fatigue to the point where I would be in bed for over 24 hours. I had daily headaches and dizziness that would be constant. They would never go away, and they were present for over a year and a half. And I had really bad body aches. It sort of felt like I had the flu, and just every single part of my body was in terrible pain. I also experienced memory loss, which is the neurological part of my Lyme disease that I explained earlier. I have brain fog, which is basically when your brain cannot process things that could normally under normal circumstances. I would sometimes have trouble remembering when my birthday was, or I couldn't remember how to turn decimals into fractions, which is simple things that I learned in probably 3rd grade. I also had really bad breathing problems, which is my other co-infection, Babesia. That's when I had gone to the ER, and they basically told me that my symptoms were of cocaine addicts, and they told me that it was all in my head and that I was crazy. I now have the classic joint pain. Not terrible, it's just in my fingers, my wrists, my toes, and my ankles. So it's not that bad. Number 5, what is your treatment like? In September 2010, when I was first diagnosed, I was on doxycycline for, I believe it was 3 months. Didn't really touch it, didn't really do anything. Then February 2011, I had my first appointment with Dr. Richard Horowitz in Hyde Park, New York. He is one of the best Lyme disease doctors in the country, if not the world. He's constantly traveling to Europe and other parts of the world to educate people on Lyme disease and spread information regarding the subject. Currently, my treatment sort of looks like this. Here are both of my medicine containers. As you can see on this one, there's not anything right there because I've taken them. I'm on 4 different antibiotics 2 times a day, and I am about at 40 pills currently, and it's the most pills I've been on. Most of them are different herbs and things to flush my body out, because if I just took the antibiotics on itself, that could be really damaging on a lot of my organs, and it also would just sort of keep everything bottled up. So I'm on a couple different medications to flush my system out and get rid of everything. Number 6, will you have it for the rest of your life / is there a cure? I personally will have it for the rest of my life because I didn't catch it in time, and we have no idea when I got bit. However, if you have the tick, you know that you were bitten, you have the rash, etc., you can be cured with 3 months of doxycycline, but most doctors will only treat you for 2 weeks because the information about Lyme disease isn't very well known, and that is how they are taught to treat it. Number 7, how does it impact my daily life? It's really sporadic. One day I can be totally fine, like today is one of my good days, I can be totally fine, but another day I can be completely bedridden and not be able to get out of bed at all. Some days when it's like that, my mom can sort of like pull me out of bed and help me. But some days I just sleep for hours upon hours upon hours, sometimes 18 to 24 hours a day. Also, like I said, I had problems with my school in the past. There's a lot of ignorance and things that go on, and some people don't believe me. So it's kind of hard to get through it, but like I said before, it could be a lot worse, and I'm grateful that I'm being treated by Dr. Horowitz, and my symptoms will go away fairly soon in a couple of years. I will have different flare-ups throughout my life where it'll get bad, and then it'll get completely better, and then it'll get bad again and completely better. It's basically a cycle. So this video has been way long enough. If I missed anything, or if you have any other questions, leave them down below in the comments, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. Also, leave me requests for videos if you have any, because there are only so many videos that I can really do. So if you want me to sing something, or go over modification things, or more Lyme disease stuff, then message me or comment down below and let me know. Also, please give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see all my modification and singing stuff right when I put it up. I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Bye.